Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily. The Verification Commission for Warsaw Reprivatisation has overturned 4 decisions from 2015 to grant Robert N. and his accomplice Janusz P. 5.5 million zloty for the real estate at Topiel 16. The decisions were originally made by the then Mayor of Warsaw, Hania Gronkiewicz-Waltz.
The Commission completely annulled 4 decisions made by the Mayor of Warsaw on the determination and award of compensation to Janusz P. and Robert N. for 5.5 million zlotys. The Commission referred the case to the Mayor of Warsaw for reconsideration. The chairman of the Commission said that compensation should never have been paid to Robert N. and Janusz P. We have found that the town hall has unlawfully paid 5.5 million zlotys to Janusz P. and Robert N. because this property was unsuitable for repayment or compensation. At the same time, it is worth mentioning that, among other things, officials of the Warsaw City Hall had corruption allegations for issuing these decisions. As for this property, the matter is very complicated. It was the case of Mr. Włodawer who sold his inheritance to these 2 men. Now the question arises whether they have regained it legally or not, because Włodawer's right to this property were undisputed. This is why it is not such an obvious matter. It is not clearly stated that there has been any corruption or illegal activity. According to Sebastian Kaleta, the decisions to grant compensations were issued in violation of the law and the city should apply for a refund of the money paid to Robert N. and Janusz P. I expect that immediately after issuing the decision, Mayor Trzaskowski will apply for enforcement of the amount that Hanna Gronkiewicz-Waltz officially paid out. This is a gigantic amount, 5.5 million zlotys. This is one of many decisions that have been overturned by the Commission. These several millions are waiting to return to the city budget, and I'm wondering if the Mayor of Warsaw is determined to fight for this money. In January 2019, the regional prosecutor in Wrocław filed an objection against the decision of the Mayor of Warsaw to grant compensation. According to the Commission, before the outbreak of World War II, the property at Topiel 16 consisted of residential buildings. Due to the serious destruction of buildings during the war, the demolished buildings were dismantled shortly afterwards.
The Polish Archbishop Marek Jędraszewski has received more support for speaking out against the rainbow plague. This time it comes from the head of the church in the Czech Republic, as well as the chairman of the Episcopate of Slovakia and Hungary, who reacted by sending out expressions of solidarity with the Metropolitan of Krakow. The support for the Archbishop comes in response to a media storm that broke out after his homily at St Mary's Church on the anniversary of the Warsaw Uprising.
We know from our history that persistence in teaching our faith has repeatedly caused the anger of others. Nevertheless, we are observing with disbelief the recent unjust attacks because you have only expressed the teaching of the Catholic Church in the face of the phenomenon of our time. It is shocking that those who demand acceptance of their set of values at the same time refuse the exact same right to you and also the right to speak to those who have a different opinion on a given matter. Because these attacks are unprecedented, we too want to express with this letter our solidarity and our brotherly support. The heads of Catholic conferences of Hungary, the Czech Republic and Slovakia sent letters in support and solidarity with the Polish Archbishop Marek Jędraszewski. They emphasized the importance of respect for any human being on one hand, including any person of the gay and lesbian group, and on the other hand, the fact that this respect cannot be interpreted as an acceptance of the LGBT ideology. This is the underlying message which comes to us from various supporters from many directions of Europe. The Catholic Church's stance had been explained very precisely in a letter by the chairman of the Polish Bishops' Catholic Conference, and it says that persons of various sexual orientations are our brothers and sisters, but at that same time this doesn't express support of the LGBT ideology. This is a very precise statement, and it is consistent with the Catholic Church Catechism, the Bible, and the Christian and Jewish traditions as well.
A woman is dead and another injured after being attacked by an Islamist extremist in the centre of Sydney. The assailant yelled "Allahu Akbar" during his assault. Whilst attempting to attack other passers-by, he was overpowered and detained by British holidaymakers and subsequently arrested by local police.
A man armed with a knife was restrained in Sydney's central business district on Tuesday by members of the public after attacking two women. A 21-year-old woman was found dead at an apartment building, and a second woman, 41, was taken to the hospital in a stable condition with a stab wound on her back. This was classified as an unprovoked attack by a man who has since been taken into custody. The unidentified man had also tried unsuccessfully to stab other people in an incident that brought the central business district in Australia's largest city to a standstill in the early afternoon. The event sparked an investigation into how the accused man, aged 21, went from living with his parents to committing such a terrible crime. Police did not say how the first woman died, but confirmed that the man was responsible for both attacks, adding that the attack cannot be classified as a terrorist incident, a claim that could be reassessed as the investigation pursues. The man, who police did not name, was carrying a knife and a computer thumb drive containing information about deadly attacks in North America and New Zealand when he went on the frenzy as a lone wolf.
The European migration crisis is continuing to strain relations within the European Union. NGO vessels are picking up an increasing number of African migrants off the Libyan coast who are then left stranded on board vessels for weeks as no EU member states volunteer to let the migrants disembark at their ports. Currently, 507 migrants on board two NGO vessels have been left in limbo. Meanwhile, Greece is reporting a spike in migrant arrivals and is demanding a new common EU asylum law based on mandatory migrant relocation quotas.
The NGO vessel Ocean King, run by Doctors Without Borders, and the Franco-German NGO SOS Mediterranee picked up 81 migrants on Sunday and another 105 on Monday, bringing up the total number of migrants on board to 356. Information given by representatives of the NGO on the 85 migrants picked up on Friday show that the gender disproportion among the migrants is very high, as the group consists of 75 adult men, 5 women and 4 children.
This morning, with the assistance of aerial assets, we were able to locate the boat. So we were able to complete a safe rescue and have everybody on board. We have 85 people total, including 5 women and 4 children.
The Spanish NGO vessel Open Arms picked up an additional 31 migrants on Saturday, bringing up the total number of migrants on board to 151. Hollywood actor Richard Gere made an appearance on the vessel, calling for Europeans to allow the migrants to disembark in their countries.
The most important thing for these people here is to be able to get to a free port, be able to get off the boats, get on land and start a new life, be taken care of and make a life for themselves.
Later, at a press conference, the actor slammed the Italian government for stopping mass migration to Italy.
I'm coming from a place with a very bizarre political situation also right now. We're also a president who's putting an enormous amount of energy into demonizing people who are, again, running from a fire. We have our problems with refugees coming from Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, or Mexico. It's very similar to what you're going through here. And again, a very bizarre government whose intent on not solving a problem. I heard about this new, very disturbing law, which didn't sound like my friends the Italians, who I love very dearly. And this law made it an offense to help NGOs that are doing good things in the world, helping people. So I was outraged. I couldn't believe this was actually true.
Apart from the increased activity off the Libyan coast, Greece is also reporting a spike in arrivals. The number of migrants on 5 of its islands close to Turkey has jumped to over 20,000, an increase of 17% in just a couple of weeks. On Monday, its Minister of Migration called for the EU to take action and introduce a new European asylum law aimed at spreading out the migrants to all EU member states. The concept has been pushed by southern and western EU states but is firmly opposed by the Visegrad Group, consisting of Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic and Slovakia, who prefer a solution modelled on Australia's migration policy based on turning boats back to where they came from.
Thank you very much for joining me here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily weather. It's followed by the business, then it's the culture, history, and finally the travel.
Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Tonight we can expect partly cloudy skies over Poland and showers in the south in Katowice, Kraków and Rzeszów. The temperatures will vary from 12 degrees in the north to 16 degrees in the south. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, we can expect a very rainy day for most of the regions in Poland, with scattered showers and rainy skies in Lublin. The coldest cities will be Białystok and Lublin at 20 degrees, while the warmest will be Bydgoszcz, Wrocław and Katowice at 24 degrees centigrade. The next 3 days will bring gradual changes to the weather, with the skies clearing up by Saturday. On Thursday, we can expect rain, and the temperatures will vary from 20 to 24 degrees. On Friday, the rainy clouds should move towards the west, and only the western coast can expect showers and thunderstorms. The temperature will vary between 21 to 22 degrees. By Saturday, we can expect the skies to clear up, and the temperatures will rise to 23 and 25 degrees. That is all for tonight. I invite you to join us later for Poland Daily Business.
Poland Daily Business Edition. Our show tonight is about finances and business. So we have our guest Jerzy Bielewicz, financial analyst and Gazeta Bankowa writer. Sir, welcome to the show.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here.
And we will talk about U.S. dollar and its role in the West. Is it true that the role of United States' dollar is going to be lowered? It's going to be diminished in the next few years?
No. It's just vacation season, and you need news to send sell sell it or sell newspaper or make more clicks on your financial portal. I checked all those informations, and mighty dollar stays mighty, and that's the way it's going to be for foreseeable future. I don't see any signs of
is this a part of the strategy of balancing American export and import, especially with China? Donald Trump wanted the American companies to return to their manufacturing base inland in the United States. They want America to export the energy resources, and that's why this flow of capital is now bound to the United States.
I would say that there is this relation between strong dollar and this global situation, and more geopolitical tension in Hong Kong, Iran, Argentina, the stronger the dollar would be. And we have dollar. 40% of global credit is denominated in dollars. So dollar is a transaction currency. And the strength of dollar is its weakness as well. Because if you know that dollar is going to strengthen and you are going to finance your transaction and then repay the debt denominated in dollar, then you maybe change your mind. Maybe you'll look for other ways to finance, not in US dollars. And it's not good for US dollar. So no wonder that President Trump tweets every second day that the dollar is too strong, that euro is undervalued, that Chinese yuan is undervalued, and he's right. He's right.
He's not tweeting about Polish zloty yet, but hopefully we will be on the radar in the foreseeable future. For our economy, the strong dollar is inconvenience or rather an opportunity?
It's opportunity. For Poland, it's opportunity. The strong dollar creates tension in global economy, and weak countries with not strong economy kind of got into trouble. Argentina is a very good example. Turkey, Iran, Russia. Poland is in very good economic shape right now. We've got very dynamic growth and sustainable debt. It's very good time to invest in Poland at this point because of stable economy. So the weakness around us plays into our hands. And we expand, for example, our exports to Germany at this point. The Germany is suffering economic setback and probably would find itself in a recession. There is a recession in German industry, but we are doing very well because of strategy, because of good economic environment, pro-business in Poland. And we are expanding. I just read that we are going to take over, according to International Monetary Fund, 2 countries in next 5 years, which is Taiwan, in terms of GDP, which is Taiwan, and the second country is we are growing,
right?
Growing very fast compared to others, and it gives us a very good advantage.
This starting to grow is a challenge. Growing from the lower.
The second one is Switzerland.
Right.
So we are going to be bigger than Taiwan and Switzerland.
But we are 4 times.
Enter into in terms of GDP, we would be 19 biggest economy worldwide. So that's a very, very good news.
The one thing is to grow very rapidly. This is an art itself, but other issue is to maintain this growth in order to transfer economy from the middle income to the high income society. Do we have a chance to do that in, let's say, 10 years?
Actually, we are doing this because where the money is. The money is in trade. And the national strategy is that Poland becomes a trade hub, kind of a window, European window to Asia, open to Asia. And we've got this investment program, which is a central communication hub between Warsaw and Łódź.
I cannot count the billions of Polish zlotys that are going to be invested into the greenfield central communication hub, into the strengthening our railroads and the road system,
ports,
as well as the seaports in Gdańsk, Gdynia, and Szczecin.
Pipelines. So we are going to be in the key region for foreseeable future, and it kind of the best place to invest right now for international investors.
Jerzy Bielewicz, financial analyst. If you happen to have some investment money, better listen to this guy. Thank you very much for this conversation, and that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.
Hello, and welcome again to Poland Daily Business Weather. Tomorrow on Wednesday, we can expect a very rainy day for Poland. There will be scattered showers in most regions of the country and rainy skies in Lublin. The coldest cities will be Białystok and Lublin at 20 degrees, while the warmest will be Bydgoszcz, Wrocław and Katowice at 24 degrees centigrade. In Europe, we can expect rain in Vilnius, Minsk, Paris, London and Dublin. Scandinavia will see partly cloudy skies and temperatures of 17 degrees to 18 degrees, and the sunniest spots in Europe will be Prague, Bucharest and Ankara, with a temperature of 20 to 36 degrees. The Iberian Peninsula will also be very sunny, with Madrid at 33 degrees and Lisbon at 28 degrees centigrade. That is all for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and I wish you all a very pleasant evening.
Good day, everyone. My name is Maria Kądzielska, and today on Poland Daily Culture, we are going to talk about unique cultural and educational undertaking, Polish Debutante Program. We have in studio with us Agnieszka Michalczyk.
Good evening.
And Małgorzata Tomorowicz-Malińska.
A pleasure to be here.
Founder and organizer of the program.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for coming. But before we start, let's watch a short film. Ladies, so actually, what is Debutante program and to whom is it addressed?
Well, it's a unique program in all of Europe. And firstly and foremostly, I might say, is that Agnieszka Michalczyk is the initiator of the program. And she's the one that actually came up with the idea of the whole program. And it's addressed to young students, female students, 18, 24 years old. And they come from all walks of life and all parts of Poland. And it's an initiative that combines two things, charity and education.
And what are the actions which you're doing, actually?
Oh, there's quite a multitude of actions and initiatives. Because this program, its aim is to educate young females. It's to show them not only the Polish culture, but Polish tradition, the best sides of Polish tradition, which is tolerance, love of art, affirmation of different sides of culture and art, but also, which is most important, our program takes place in Wilanów.
Yeah, which is the most beautiful place in Warsaw. The museum of John III Palace at Wilanów is, according to us, is the most beautiful place. So we couldn't even imagine the more beautiful environment.
The girls have to know everything about the historical period in which it was, erected, and about its history, about King Jan III Sobieski, but also about the women who were there,
of course,
and who were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, the owners of the palace at Wilanów, yeah.
So we teach the girls to look at, of course, the appreciation of art, which is very important, because Wilanów is beautiful, and they should be proud of the heritage. But also, these are modern young ladies, so we teach them different things which later on come in very handy in their adult life.
Like public speech, for example, which is a very important issue in the adult life.
Mm-hmm.
And savoir-vivre, of course, yes.
So those are the examples of educational lessons which you give them?
Yeah. Yes, but also we teach them how to be assertive, which is very important, how to defend oneself even. But also, as Agnieszka mentioned, it is very vital that they, know how to, how to operate in the modern world, how to show that, yes, I'm an educated, a very cultured and art-loving person, but also a person who knows and who sees that there are people who are less fortunate than they are.
Yeah. So how often do you meet with girls, and how often are social events and initiatives and lessons during the program?
Well, we meet once a month in the palace, and the whole program lasts for about more than 1 year.
As we have already mentioned, lectures, but also there are charitable actions.
Who do you cooperate with when it comes to charitable actions?
With many institutions. It's up to the action. For example, right now we are going to have the action which is called Wilanów Loves the Animals, and we cooperate with some institutions who are taking care of the abandoned animals.
Yes, and the debutantes, as we say, they facilitate the adoptions of abandoned animals, and this has become quite a problem. But it's not only cats, dogs, but also we hope that hedgehogs, squirrels, and even bats.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it's very important to help others, as we say, our lesser brothers, as we say.
So we wish you very good luck with this event, and I hope our viewers are gonna wish them luck as well and maybe participate in it.
Thank you.
That would be fantastic. But may I also mention one thing? That our charitable actions also include working and, helping elderly people. Also, which is very important, we help children with neurological problems. And we also try to think of others especially, because these girls have to function in life according to the credo of our program, which is beauty within is immortal.
Beauty within is immortal. Let's finish with that. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Poland Daily History. Today we are visiting the Pawiak Prison Museum in Warsaw. This prison is one of the most famous places for Polish martyrdom during the Second World War, where 100,000 prisoners passed through these gates during the war, of which 47,000 were murdered. This prison is one of the most well-known sites of Polish martyrdom during the Second World War, with around 100,000 prisoners passing through its gates during the war, and 37,000 of them were murdered. Join us as we explore the history of one of the most brutal aspects of the German occupation. The Pawiak prison is one of the most well-guarded and also one of the most brutal prison regimes in occupied Poland. But there were still cases of escapees, and I was wondering how would the prisoners go about leaving the place.
Rzeczywiście, mimo bardzo licznej straży, mimo bardzo ostrego reżimu, jaki panował na Pawiaku, między końcem 1939 a latem 1944 roku doszło do ucieczki około 100 osób.
Indeed, despite the very tight security of the Pawiak prison, around 100 people managed to escape between 1939 and 1944. Most of the escapes were initiated by the prisoners themselves, who usually took advantage of unplanned, favorable conditions. The first escapee, Kazimierz Kot, who managed to get out of the Gestapo prison at Szucha Alley, jumped out of the bathroom window as he was unchained for a moment. He still had the handcuffs on one of his hands, but he put the hand in a pocket and simply walked right past the guard. In 1940, when the Pawiak prison was still guarded by Polish guards, one of the inmates left pretending to be an officer of the Gestapo. When the official with whom he was meeting wasn't watching, he left the prison saluting the guards at the gates. Later, when a German crew was sent to Pawiak, there were much less escapes. Usually, the escapes were aided by the Polish guards, who were members of the conspiracy. They tried to turn the blind eye to the preparations for such actions as much as they could. In one case, a Polish guard by the name of Bronisław Kuczerowski led 4 prisoners outside, pretending he was escorting them somewhere. The next part of the escape depended on the preparations and on the prisoners' resolve. Of course, leaving the Pawiak walls either by using some trickery, the help of the Polish guards, or by carving a hole in the workshop's wall didn't mean that the job was done. Anyone who left Pawiak was still inside the ghetto and had to escape that closed district as well, patrolled by the German police and the Jewish guards and protected by the German military outside. However, the prisoners were so brave and determined that with the help of often randomly met people, some of them managed to escape. Apart from the escapes from Pawiak, some inmates also fled when they were transported to the concentration camps. We know that at least 3 times the prisoners escaped that way. One time they were able to do so thanks to the Polish railwaymen, who loosened the planks in the train cars or the locks to them. Thanks to their efforts, a few dozen people escaped. Unfortunately, there were also many unsuccessful attempts. One time, only 4 out of the several dozen Poles who tried to run made it out alive. The rest was hunted down and shot at sight. There were also escapes from the so-called liberation hospitals. In some of the hospitals, a putrid fever epidemic broke out. The Germans, fearful that the German crew may get infected, ordered for anyone who got diagnosed with typhus to be sent to these liberation hospitals, located outside both Pawiak and the ghetto, which were run solely by Poles. There it was possible to make a deal with the Polish officers serving the Germans, or make an attempt to run while they weren't looking. Some prisoners who got alcohol from the outside got the officers drunk or simply threatened them to be able to leave. Around 60 more people escaped from the hospitals. In total, you could say that nearly 200 prisoners escaped from Pawiak and the ghetto area. It's worth noting the 20 or so prisoners freed during the famous Operation Arsenal by the end of March 1943 and the mutiny at the end of the Pawiak's existence. On the night of the 19th and 20th of July 1944, a group of prisoners from the Third Ward, aided by a Ukrainian guard, Ivan Petrenko, who gave them weapons, tried to take control over the prison from the inside. If the operation was a success, a group of Home Army soldiers was waiting for the escapees behind the ghetto walls to provide cover. However, the escapees were betrayed by one of the prisoners from the Third Ward, who in fear of his life told the Germans about the attempt. After the initial shock, they took swift actions. Several Wachmanns died of the wounds in the fight, but a dozen or more prisoners were killed as well. The prisoners who got their weapons from the Ukrainian guard died too. The guard himself also laid down his life in the shootout. As a form of repression, the Germans executed 100 more inmates of the Third Ward. The only attempt to take over the prison from the inside ended up in a tragedy.
Jeszcze niemal 100 więźniów trzeciego oddziału. Ta jedna ucieczka, ta próba opanowania Pawiaka od wewnątrz zakończyła się katastrofalnie.
Almost 40,000 prisoners were killed either within the prison walls or in surrounding areas. Dozens of thousands were sent to concentration camps or forced labor in Germany. Next up, we will ask Mr. Bezak about whether any of the culprits were forced to face justice after the war. So you just told me that over 100 Polish prisoners were able to escape from the prison. And I was wondering, on the same note, those prison wardens who committed these atrocities, were they able to escape justice?
Cóż, większość załogi niemieckiej Pawiaka, większość oprawców.
Most of the German crew of the Pawiak prison managed to escape responsibility for their actions. Only 4 of them were brought to justice by the Polish underground state. 4 Wachmanns were executed: Wefels, Pyrkl, Podhorecka and Narewska. The first 2 served at Pawiak and Serbia. The last 2, who were also German, even though the names might suggest otherwise, served at the female part of the prison too. The executions were conducted on the basis of the court order of the Polish underground state. They brought the desired effect. The other Wachmanns changed the way they treated the prisoners. they began treating them with at least a bit of dignity. Nonetheless, many of the regular Pawiak guards and the high-ranking officers burned all traces behind them. They avoided any responsibility after the war.
Zatarło po sobie ślady, uniknęło po wojnie jakiejkolwiek odpowiedzialności.
So, as I know, Franz Birkel is one of the most cruel prison guards in this place.
Tak, rzeczywiście wśród strażników Pawiaka Franz Birkel.
Franz Birkel, the prison's deputy warden, was described by the prisoners as especially cruel. We know that he murdered lots of inmates personally, either to steal their valuables or just because he felt like it. The dangerous man was sentenced by the underground state to death and shot on September 7, 1943, near the border of the German district, the so-called police district. He was executed by a patrol of the Special Home Army Group, Agat. The name of the group comes from the word anti-Gestapo. Birkel's death caused the Pawiak guards to be a little easier on the prisoners for some time.
Na pewien czas spowodowała złagodzenie kursu strażników wobec osadzonych.
As we have seen today, the Pawiak prison is a place of special importance in Polish history. During the 4 years it was operated by the Germans, the level of brutality created an urge for revenge, which finally erupted on August 1st, 1944, the first day of the Warsaw Uprising. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. I'll see you next time on Poland Daily History.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Poland Daily Travel, where we continue our trip around the area of the Campinos Forest. Here, you'll see a sign, and at the top of it, the sculpture in wood of the head of a moose. There's a reason for that, because there are a lot of moose in this park, apparently, and occasionally some of them escape and run down the streets in Warsaw. In fact, not long ago, I think it was a couple of years ago, there was a story about a moose running along the Vistula River in Warsaw. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but people seem to believe it. And moose are seen from time to time in the environs of Warsaw. But I have yet, on my many cycling trips, to see a moose actually in the park. At any rate, here is one of the entrances to the park. This tiny road is going into the park, and we're in a place called Granica. Granica means border. I don't know why it's called that particularly. Perhaps it means border of the forest, but Granica in Polish means border. At any rate, we are on the border, and you will see as we drive along that at this point, the cultivated fields give way to the forest, being as we're on the edge. This way, it's about, to my left, it's about 30 kilometers back to Warsaw, give or take. To the right, you come to Żelazna Wola, which was the, what? Żelazowa Wola. Okay, I'll do it again. Cut back to this, because my Polish is obviously terrible. Żelazowa Wola, yeah, thank you. To my left is about 30 miles to Warsaw, and to my right is Żelazowa Wola, the house in which Chopin grew up. And if we're lucky, we'll be able to see the church as well, where his parents were married. So there's a bit of Chopin all around Warsaw, and we'll have a glimpse at that. At any rate, here we are on the edge of the park, and I'll just take a little walk, I think.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Poland Daily Travel. We've got a splendid series of programs for you, so just sit back and enjoy the ride as we take you on a magical mystery tour through the Campinos National Forest on the outskirts of beautiful downtown Warsaw. Campinos National Park was established in 1959 to protect the unique complex of inland dunes and wetlands, the natural plant communities, and the rich fauna, that's animals, and numerous monuments of Polish history and culture. And indeed, there are some pretty substantial dunes, as you will see. So stay tuned, you won't want to miss that. And did you know that Campinos National Forest, which is a UNESCO biosphere, is twinned with the Indiana Dunes National Park in the United States? The park covers an area of about 40,000 hectares. And in the park you will find a moose, a lynx, lots of owls, plenty of deer, and even a bear. Just kidding about the bear. And no wolves either, unfortunately. More than 73% of the park is covered with forests. It's a wildlife sanctuary with over 200 species of birds. There are swamps and forests and dunes and beavers and otters, to name a few more animals, along with pine martens, foxes, polecats, and as we said, lynx. And indeed, you might see a wolf. Campinos, the lungs of Warsaw, 40,000 hectares of wilderness on the northwest frontier of Warsaw. It has history, it has beauty, it has mystery. So you won't want to miss this series of exciting episodes from the Campinos National Forest. It was a lot of fun doing it, and I'm sure you're going to really enjoy it. On Poland Daily Travel, your favorite source for travel information about Poland and the best travel programming about Poland that has ever been attempted, that has ever been done, and that you've ever seen. Stay with us, Poland Daily Travel. Why do we do it? We do it for you.
Welcome back to Poland Daily. This is the kind of thing that I love, because we were just making our way, just seeing what's around, and we saw this beautiful skansen, and I was wondering, oh, it would be very nice to talk to someone. And this gentleman, Mr. Mariusz Morkowski, who is a educational officer here and works there, was just coming to work down the path. So we got very lucky. And again, this is exactly what's great about travel, is when you can get lucky and meet exactly the right person at the right time to explain things to you. But as you were saying, behind us, or over in front of us actually, is co to jest tam? To jest coś nowy budynek. It's a new building.
To nie jest nowy budynek.
Okay.
Budynki, które były budowane w latach 1921-27,
okay,
wymagały generalnego remontu. Udało nam się zdobyć na ten remont pieniądze i w tej chwili przez górali tatrzańskich są one właśnie odnawiane. Budynek stary...
To jest od południowy?
Tak, z południa Polski, z Tatry przyjechali górale. Tak.
Tatry, okay. Okay, this is interesting, because what they've done, it's not that unusual, but what they do when they have these skansens is they take buildings from other areas, they reconstruct them and protect them. So this building is actually a Highlander building from the south of Poland, from the Tatra Mountains, and they are carefully reconstructing it, so it'll be preserved here in the nice forest. And?
W latach 20. XX wieku Polska była zapatrzona, zafascynowana Tatrami. No i wtedy powstał tu taki styl podobny do zakopiańskiego.
Okay.
I dlatego powstały podobne tutaj budynki do tych, które można zobaczyć w Tatrach.
Jaki jest styl na południowych górach?
Dokładnie.
Is that right?
Tak.
Okay, I don't know. I'm trying with my Polish, but at any rate, there is a fascination for sometimes with the culture of the Tatra Mountains and the Highlander lifestyle, the Górale?
Górale tak
Górale,
odbudowują
yeah.
tutaj. No.
Yeah, and they build houses and stuff. Let's go. Can we go to the Skansen? Yeah.
Tak będzie to wyglądało.
Oh, okay. This is what the place is going to look like. This lady here is a park ranger. This is what the building will eventually look like, which is a very standard highland house from the mountains in the south. And the thing to remember is that Poland is very, very keen on restoration and preserving its architectural past. And this is one such area. But there are many areas like this around the country. Anyway, this one happens to be in a very special place in the forest.
To będzie przyszłe muzeum, także tam za płotem właśnie ze starych belek jest odnawiane właśnie przyszłe muzeum i tam będą też w budynku obok zajęcia edukacyjne będą.
Okay, so this is going to be a museum area, rather like this area, yeah. And there'll be education building.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Budynek edukacyjny, tak?
Edukacyjny, tak, to będzie tamten budynek, a tutaj będzie muzeum, wystawa będzie w muzeum.
Okay, stay with Mariusz and stay with me, Mariusz Markowski, who is an education officer here in the park, and we just ran into him. He's a good man. And we're going to go now and look at the recreation over here in the next program. So stay with me and stay with Mariusz. Thank you, Mariusz. We go here now, and we'll be back with more Poland Daily Travel from here in the beautiful Campinos Forest.